MakingStarWars.net.
Hey YouTube, I'm Jason Ward from MakingStarWars.net, and this is guy having one. Oh, shut up! Come on, just started. You and your freaking emergencies.
Who let the cops out? Woo, woo, woo. What?
Yeah, I mean they don't come when I call them, so I don't know what they're up to. But anyways, yeah. So you're over there having one crazy summer. I could see it. I can see it now.
Trying to find chemistry with Demi Moore, and it's just fucking impossible.
Just not happening. Yeah.
It's funny. If you look at that movie, she has zero chemistry with John Cusack. And it's not Cusack's fault. Because you go to Ninja Master 1, right? Lee Van Cleef and that other idiot. And she's in like episode 2 or 3. I think episode 2, and she has like no chemistry there either. Like, she was the Natalie Portman of the
hit or miss. She was never. Yeah, I think it was either real for her or it wasn't probably.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, she kind of very Natalie Portman like in One Crazy Summer. She had the hair and the whole bit.
Yeah. All right. So, we were talking about this picture before we started. I think it looks pretty good, but we're gonna get to this article right now from the directs. And Obi-Wan Kenobi writer reveals Commander Cody's scrapped role. So, also like confirms a few things that we had been talking about the last couple of days. Even confirms the thing I said the last show about Tala's name being Tao. Remember, didn't I say that? I thought it was like Tao or something like that. They confirmed it. You made it. Okay, let me get down to the interview. Commander Cody's original role in Kenobi. In an exclusive interview with Nathan Johnson, Obi-Wan Kenobi writer Stuart Beattie revealed that Commander Cody initially played a big role in the draft of his Obi-Wan Kenobi film. Cody was rumored to appear in the project all the way through 2020, and it is possible that he was even in the early scripts after the project's transition into a series. I kind of don't think so from how the rumors went. Like I heard that guy was cut pretty early, but I could be wrong. When asked if there was any legacy characters from the past Star Wars projects in his movie script, Beattie confirmed there was, specifically noting that Cody was the big one. He went on to briefly describe what Cody's appearance was supposed to be. Yeah, Cody was the big one. I love the idea of Obi-Wan having a buddy on Tatooine, like a secret buddy. So like the first time he goes into town, you see Cody, and he's following him through the streets and attacks him. Takes him into an alley with a knife to his throat and says, "You're dead." And then you realize, oh no, Cody's making a point. Like, come on, you gotta be more careful. So the way that I heard that stuff went down was that Cody turned up, and then they're there for a time. I also heard that and this one is weird. I heard that Obi-Wan lived with the Lars family at that time. And Luke was 4. So he went on to briefly describe what Cody's appearance would be. Right?
We've been waiting for you.
Oh, and then another thing too that I had heard from back then was that Tala, who was Tao, she was going to be a romantic interest for Kenobi, because there's like, and it's kind of funny because I was watching the Red Letter Media guys did their Kenobi 5 and 6 review, and they were like, they should have had him like kiss her like at that point, before he was like a Jedi or something like that. I don't remember what they said exactly, but it was like that. And then that way when she dies, it's like, oh man, and it kind of wraps that up. And then and it was like, yep, that's exactly what they were going for originally, was that it was like on this like space station is where they kind of ended up at the end of the story, after Cody has killed himself to fake Kenobi's death in a ship, I think. And then they would end up on this like space station. And that's where he would meet Tao, I believe. And then and all of the Jedi stuff. And then, like the big stuff would happen there. But that's kind of like where it all wrapped up. It wasn't, I honestly didn't like it too much.
Hang out at our place, Obi-Wan, Owen, and Beru.
Beattie also went on to talk about how he wanted to explore Cody's character arc and show exactly how he transformed from what he was in Revenge of the Sith to Obi-Wan Kenobi, while also revealing that the character had his inhibitor chip removed. In Star Wars The Clone Wars, it is revealed that all of the clone troopers have inhibitor chips planted into them, which is how Emperor Palpatine is able to initiate Order 66. Having this chip removed would have removed all external control from Kenobi and meant that from Cody and meant that he would not try to hunt Obi-Wan when seeing him, even though he is a Jedi. And so BD goes on to say, and you realize, oh, Cody has now morphed from someone who was trying to kill him when he last saw them to someone who is now devoting his life to protect him. Because by now, he's had the biochip taken out of his head. And now he realizes, oh my God, what I did was wrong. And he was driven by guilt.
The clone 800, right?
What?
It's the same from T2. It's the T800, right?
Yeah.
Right. There's a whole scene where he takes the chip out so you can protect him.
It's the T66. And he was driven by guilt as much as Obi-Wan is driven by guilt. So you got these two kind of old warriors bickering like this old married couple bitching about God. It was so much better when we had an army at our backs, you know? So, yeah. That sounds like it goes absolutely nowhere. I mean,
I like it. I'm on that trip. Sign me up for the road to nowhere.
We're on a road to nowhere.
I like it.
Yeah, just like in the Disney Plus series, Obi-Wan had to leave Tatooine in BD's script. The major difference is that Cody was ordered by Obi-Wan to watch over Luke while he was gone. Whereas in the show, no one took over. See, I heard that Cody, maybe Cody died later then. Maybe Cody stays and then dies later. But I did hear that Cody doesn't make it. And the idea of mine was that when Obi-Wan, or maybe that's what happened after, and it wasn't in BD's. And the idea of mine was that when Obi-Wan had to leave Tatooine, he left Cody in charge of Luke. And that gave us a fun little B story to keep cutting away to. And yeah, he's a really fun character and a guy racing against the clock, obviously, because he's aging twice as fast. He's trying to atone for the worst thing he's ever done in his life. So tragic in a way, but just fun. The way they bickered in my stuff, it was just, put a smile on your face and, laughs, just arguing all the time. So, okay. When asked why they thought Cody didn't make the final Disney Plus series, BD could speculate that it could have to do with Tamara Morrison's availability. The writer added that he felt Obi-Wan needed someone to talk to. I don't know. They just decided, I don't know. Maybe Tamara Morrison was busy on Boba Fett. It would have been obviously Tamara, because maybe they decided that they didn't need him either. I just felt Obi-Wan needed someone to talk to, someone who could tell him, you're in bad shape.
Yeah. I heard they just felt they paid him enough that year, Jason. Didn't we give him enough?
Right.
Didn't we give him a giant paycheck and some toys and shit? Like, it's too much.
Did someone say?
When I cast him, I didn't think they were going to put his face in every freaking show. It's ridiculous. He's making more than me right now, Jason. It's not right. It's not right.
I would say that Ewan did carry the show without it, though.
Yeah.
I could see from the writer's perspective in this instance where he's like, you need somebody to like talk to. I mean, that usually is true to some extent. I mean, even the Tika Jawa scene in a way is kind of functions as that in a slight way, where she tells him he stinks and stuff. But
yeah. I was gonna have him do a whole play in my draft I gave to Iger. He was gonna do it with the little Jawa. They were gonna do Othello with. It's gonna be like Othello, Jason.
So you'll like this though. BD planned to use Cody to show how disconnected Obi-Wan was from the Force, even drawing inspiration from Superman 2 for a key climactic moment. Excellent. Because that was the other big idea in mind, was that because Obi-Wan was kind of forcing his will upon the child through the greatest Jedi ever and fix everything, he was disconnected completely from the Force. So the idea of Superman 2, right? You take away Superman's powers, now he's a human, immortal, and nobody knows he's lost his powers except for him, and he's terrified. And he can't sense when Cody's hunting in the back alleys, and he can't force push anyone. He can't mind read anyone. He's taken away all that stuff, and it's just a desperate guy, and it allowed allowed to have, that moment when he finally learns to surrender to the will of the Force. His powers come back, and you get that great Superman 2 moment where he's on his knees, starts crushing Zod's hand. So it allowed us to have that big, fun, climactic moment. And it's still in the show. I mean, Obi-Wan, and, it's kind of not there with his powers, but at the end, he is God.
Yeah, my Superman 2 dream is to bag Margot Kidder. And so no. I think we can bring that technology back with the deepfake and make it happen, right?
In a George Lucas capture sec.
Yeah.
So the Obi-Wan Kenobi writer then, yeah, that was the other thing I was going to say about the Red Letter Media thing. To go back to that, they literally talk about how when he's in the hole, they're like, why didn't they have Qui-Gon talk to him? That's literally what they had. It's what.
Right.
Yeah, it was like the Qui-Gon VO. And then they're like, the one guy's all, because you need people to go, oh, I see him. I know who he is. So that's why they didn't do it, right? And it's like, probably right there.
Yeah. Although, I got to be honest, too, man. Like, it was literally that from the comics, but they put it in the movie, is the scene in Spider-Man Homecoming where he's all crushed under the rubble. He goes, come on, Spider-Man. Come on, Spider-Man. And he lifts up and shit. I was like, do it.
So the Obi-Wan Kenobi writer then went on to explain the importance of showing how the character ultimately surrendered to the will of the Force. He also stated that he thought it was an interesting path to take Obi-Wan on. So the quote says, and that was always the idea, that by the end, he found his way back to the Force and surrendered to the will of it because you know how to connect to it. I believe you got to make things happen in your life, but at the same time, you can't force your will upon the will of the universe. You've got to surrender to the will of the universe while still pursuing what you want to do. It's a tricky balance. I just thought that it was an interesting path to send Obi-Wan on. Now, here's the shit where I groaned a lot, by the way.
Oh, no.
I heard about this. And I thought shut up. So it definitely I definitely start to see, though, on one hand, like Book of Boba Fett happening. Like, if we would just want to know, I think Cody was probably just cut naturally as the scripts and stuff like that were being redone and stuff. But you have the Sarlacc in Book of Boba Fett with Tamara Morrison. You definitely couldn't do that in this next series. It would have been like
no toothy Sarlacc.
It would have been like a Bacta tank again,
Yeah.
But when asked if there's any particular scenes in his movie script that he wish could have made it to the Disney Plus series, Beatty stated that there was a fun one that included Obi-Wan and Kenobi visiting the local Sarlacc so that they could get rid of some dead stormtroopers. See, I hated this when I heard this because you live in a fucking desert. You don't have to go find the Great Pit of Carcoon to hide a fucking body. Like, that's just, but whatever. All right, so it goes on to say,
yeah, literally, there's fucking like Harryhausen monsters just sitting in the sand, man.
I mean, you just get a fucking shovel.
I'm gonna be honest. Yeah. They should have sold the bodies to the Jawas because they'll buy anything.
But for what it's worth, maybe that's why we saw that stormtrooper in Book of Boba Fett. Maybe that's where that came from at one point.
Right.
The fun one that I missed was actually a scene back on Tatooine with Cody. My Cody was so fun. Cody was with Owen, and there was some bounty hunters that had discovered Obi-Wan, and they got to get rid of the bodies. And so there was just this really fun scene where, what do you do with bodies on Tatooine and you need to get rid of them? Well, you go out to the local Sarlacc, right? They kind of park and they're having this whole discussion about, Cody shooting Obi-Wan and all that kind of stuff. And so Beatty also went on to describe the comedic conflict that came with the scene. But as they're doing it, they're tossing these bodies into the Sarlacc pit and the Sarlacc's eating them, right? In the middle of doing this, the other speeder comes up and they get their guns ready, and these guys see them, and they're like, everyone's like frozen, and they're like, are we going to kill each other? But then the guys open their trunk, and they've got stormtroopers out. They want to throw in the Sarlacc, and they start throwing them. Pretty good, though.
That's a fun scene. Look,
yeah, it is good.
I prefer they add to it's a giant planet, man. There's got to be a fucking million things you can do there,
Sure. Yeah.
But the fact that someone else has some bodies to drop off is like, that's I would have kept that and deleted the Sarlacc return scene from Boba Fett. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Because nothing really happened there. I mean, it was a fun visual effect,
Right.
trying to eat the ship. It was good visual effects, but nothing
And,
happened. That was funny.
in a way, it's kind of a shame. I mean, I'm glad he talked about it because I want to know, like, officially and all that kind of stuff. But on the other hand, it's like, man, now like this might have happened, but now it might not ever happen because this could still happen in future Kenobi episodes.
Yeah, why
The
is he
writer
spilling all the beans, man? Like, what's up
they didn't use his shit, so he's talking about what they didn't use. I guess. I mean, I don't really think it's usually supposed to work this way, but I think he's just doing it, and then
that's great. Like he's spilling more than Prowse.
He's probably did the project. It went this way. He's not interested in doing anything else with them, I guess. So probably doesn't care if he, I don't know, burns the bridge. I don't know if it's a burned bridge. Maybe they said he could, but I don't think so. I mean, if PR knew their ass from their elbow, they would be like, no, never talk about alternate stuff because people always say it's better no matter what,
Oh, I know this from firsthand.
Yeah.
The second Crash came out, I put up like some alternate stuff that didn't make the cut for skins, and they were like, "Could you wait till we're done with the art book? Because I don't want like." And then I waited till the art book; it wasn't in there, and they're like, "Don't post this. They always want the stuff they didn't get." Like it's true.
I saw people commenting about the original death of Riva, the one that I reported on that BD then confirmed was the original ending. And there's all these people going, that ending is better. Like, that's so much better. Whereas, what did we hear for the months after we reported how it sucked? It's just like, you just can't, you can't please everybody.
Yeah, well, it's always better in their head. Right?
Yeah. When you direct it to your pacing and everything, it's perfect. The writer stated that there was another element in this scene that included a very drunk Jawa. I mean, this sounds rad. Man. No, it could have been rad, but it also could have been like, what the fuck are you doing right now in this Kenobi stuff? You know what I mean? Like
I'm not knocking Deborah Chow. This isn't a knock on Deborah Chow. She's a good director, but this requires a director. I think someone closer to, not a Favreau, I want to say, but like. Someone who gets like quirky, like Ryan Johnson would get like that. You know what I mean? Like that dark humor. She doesn't really have the dark humor thing going.
It would be like Favreau going dark, or Ryan Johnson, or it's more of like a '90s Big Lebowski kind of like
Coen Brothers, almost
Coen
Vince
Brothers
Gilligan in some
kind of tone, for sure. So as a third thing, this massive speeder comes with these massive doors, and you expect this massive alien to come out to dump a body. But instead, it's a very drunk Jawa comes tumbling out, opens the back door of the speeder. It's a massive dead alien in there. He's like shoving the dead alien down there, and he's drunk, burping and wasted. And I called him Bad Jawa. So that was always a really fun thing that I wish I could have been able to do, because the fun side of Tatooine, right? Yeah, the little moments like that. So yeah, I mean, it would be rad if they still did this. You know what I mean? If they took this sequence and still did it somehow, or if it was one of those like Tales of the Jedi fucking episodes or something. Probably too dark for animation, but still. BD also brought up a more serious scene that he felt was important to his initial script, but was ultimately left out of the series. He revealed that his film was supposed to have a group of refugees that had their own religion, which would have been revealed to be the Force. So this is where the Tala stuff comes in. Yeah, so like the show in mind, Obi-Wan falls in with refugees that are fleeing the Empire. And I think this is like on that like space station place. And he's helping get the refugees out away from the Empire and luring Vader away and all that kind of stuff. So I had all that stuff in mind. And the one thing that I love that I wish they kept in the show was the refugees had their own religion, right? And a goddess that they said controlled all life, basically. And that what you come to realize is, oh, this is the Force. It's just they don't call it the Force. They call it the goddess. Ooh, I would have loved to have seen the Fandom Menace on that day when the Force literally went female. Wouldn't that have been a fun day on YouTube? You know,
I may have some insight to this one, Jason. Ironically, like I'm not the best to say it though, so I'll hand it over to Filoni.
okay.
We was gonna call it the Marsha. That's what we was gonna call it. Yeah.
So
yeah,
so they weren't the Partisans; they were the Martians.
Yeah. You
Sense.
get it?
I get
You
it.
got it. You got it.
You
got it.
I get it.
Okay, I'm back to my food. Bye, peace.
All right, dude. Eat, enjoy your donuts.
Martians.
So he also talked about how the leader of the refugees was supposed to test Obi-Wan through the Force, and the test included a vision where Obi-Wan was back on Mustafar. And they take the lead refugee woman. Her name was Tao. So that was Tala. She takes Obi-Wan to their sacred shrine and says, "Put your hands on here and close your eyes and concentrate and let the goddess talk to you," which is basically the Force. And so Obi-Wan does it. And when he opens his eyes, he's on Mustafar. And it's like, whoa, how'd I get here? So, yeah.
She's like Space Lizard.
And then here's the other shit that made me cringe personally. I know everyone will come in their pants over, even though I think it's terrible. BD fully explained the scene on Mustafar. What?
No, I'm getting ready to come in my pants. Just give me a second.
Okay, right, sorry.
What?
I don't have the headphones on, so when I'm reading, I win in my. I'm louder when I have the headphones on.
Gotcha.
And even when it revealed that it was going to include a de-aged Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker and be a callback to the cave scene in The Empire Strikes Back. And he sees a guy in a dark robe with a red lightsaber, and he's like, Anakin. And as the guy in the robe comes up, he lifts his lightsaber. You see, it's Luke, Mark Hamill, 19. And so Luke attacks him. Obi-Wan and Luke have this lightsaber battle in mind, which was mirroring, of course, The Empire Strikes Back. So it was kind of a thing that ends with, Luke just almost killing Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan is snapping out of the vision. Basically, it's a vision of the future if Obi-Wan keeps training Luke and puts all his guilt on this kid. Luke's going to turn to the dark side. So
the question is that clear to anybody? You know what I mean? Like, the problem with those scenes is that everyone gets a fucking interpretation.
Yeah.
And so there's never, again, I love the Cade sequence when I was a kid, but like no one, it's not like Yoda ever explains to him, here's what that shit meant, kid. So I feel like that would go over the heads of over half the audience probably. Well,
also remember Luke Skywalker in the scene from episode 9. That's most likely what it was going to look like, but let's just pretend like it wasn't. Then you can look at the first time Luke shows up in Mando. That's not even as good as it was going to be. That was much later. Like, if they had made his script, if his script had gone into production, it would already be severely outdated. You know what I mean? That's why I just don't like the concept. Plus, in a weird way, the idea of Obi-Wan and Luke like fighting each other, I get the symbolism of it, but I don't like it. I just don't. It just doesn't ring like thematically.
Would have been great if it was Leia.
Yeah,
like,
maybe.
You know what I mean? Like, if he gets too involved, she gets found out sooner and then turned. Because if she gets found out to Vader finds out about Leia before Luke, like, is ready and all that stuff, then what's Bail gonna fucking protect her from fucking?
Well, it could explain his fear about why he didn't move forward to train her as well.
Yeah,
if he's, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But BD also explained how this scene would further Obi-Wan's character arc and ultimately lead him to becoming the Ben Kenobi that is present in A New Hope. So it's one of those moments that makes Obi-Wan realize, I've got to let this go because this is the future I'm headed on right now. Luke is going to become a Sith and try to kill me on Mustafar at some point. So I love that. I love bringing in Luke. And this was way before they brought back Luke in The Mandalorian. We're going to be the first to do that, which would have been really fun and a nightmare. Yeah, that's probably the one I miss. So then he says, BD also revealed that his initial script would have put Reva as Kenobi's main opposition. Instead of including other Inquisitors like the Grand Inquisitor or the Fifth Brother, his version contained a group of clone troopers who closely resembled the U.S. Marshals and were all Cody, basically.
Tommy Lee Jones?
Yeah, he wasn't.
I don't care. Sorry.
So he wasn't even in mine. No, it was just really Reva. She actually had a squad of stormtrooper marshals. So I thought, yeah, of course the stormtroopers have like the equivalent of the U.S. Marshals, right? Except that these guys were clones. So she was using clones that, yes, they were all Cody, basically. So Beatty went on to further talk about this group of clones. He described them as absolutely ruthless and said that they all ended up dying by the end of the movie. They were all Tamara Morrison, speaking in his voice, and they were all veterans of the Clone Wars. They all knew Kenobi. They knew these Jedi they were hunting. They were still with the biochips in them. They did not miss when they shot. They were absolutely ruthless. There were 10 of them, and they were commanded by a guy named Commander Jet. And so they, and I think I want to say Commander Jet was a name that was also used around the episode 3 time. So I don't know. Yeah, that might have been, but I'm not positive about that.
So anyway. My Marcia thing panned out because if you can get Jet, then...
well, yeah.
What?
Only family members. She left.
She's a family member.
No, she's gone. She's gone. She took the money and run. Took the money and run.
She kept the name now.
Did she? Did she actually?
Yeah, Marshall Lucas. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah,
why would you give that name up, bro? It's Hollywood.
Yeah. I never understood that. Like, if I took somebody's name and I got divorced, I'd be fucking out. I'd be like, I'd take my old name back.
Anyway, I thought about that when my dad died. Like, I'm adopted. I can get out this name now pretty free and clear, but I like my initials, so I'm keeping it.
Yeah. All right. In the interview, the writer then explained exactly why he chose not to include the Grand Inquisitor. He claimed that when he writes a story, he likes the idea of killing characters and having them stay killed. So that sounds a little salty, but that might be the writer's slant.
Yeah.
Since the Grand Inquisitor appears in Star Wars Rebels, which takes place later in the timeline, Beatty couldn't have killed him and allowed him to stay dead. One of the funny issues I have with movies and shows in general these days is that nobody dies. Nobody really died, It takes away from the jeopardy of the story. We're now in a world where no one really dies. Then, well, why do I care, So I believe in killing characters and having them stay killed. And of course, the Grand Inquisitor is not someone you can kill. I just didn't even bring him in because I didn't want to have to have that going on and do that and have people come back. So, and then they just go on to do a little editorializing about will there be anything else. So, but pretty cool info. So check that out.
Yeah.
And then there was a little like behind the scenes doc today from Christina here, who does the High Republic show for StarWars.com for the YouTube channel and stuff. And I'm not a big High Republic fan, but I think she does a pretty good job with that show. And she got to be an extra in that. So there's like a whole 5-minute doc or something like that. But if you look on the bottom here, you can see partisan fighter confirmed, because there's a lot of people not a lot of people, but some people were giving me shit about the Partisans this whole time. And right there in an official Lucasfilm video, you can see partisan fighter. They confirmed it. They just don't beat you over the head with it, but it will clearly be important as we move forward,
Right.
That concept.
Yeah. Oh, shit. I guess you got another one right, Jason. Damn it.
Yeah, and I talked about Tao, like literally talked about Tao, I think the last show that we did. So about how that was what's her name's name initially. So yeah, I followed the fuck out of this Kenobi thing from like day one, like I was on it. And so I got most of the stuff, you know what I mean? Like over that time. But how's everybody in the chat doing? I've totally ignored everybody as we try to get to like the meat of the article, but I don't even know what people are saying, but I like it, But yeah, the hey Revenge guy, how's it going, dude? Yeah, the whole like Jawa thing, like right now, I think they're going to be kind of hard pressed to really like use Jawas, and like, you know, they've kind of like recently done the Jawas that are banging Pelimoto. They've done the Jawa that steals Kenobi shit and sells it back to
bro.
Yeah, it's canon. Dude.
Hold on, you're going off this. I just can't get past it. That's fucking legit. Like,
yeah.
That's crazy, man. All right, back to
it.
it.
No, but anyways, but we've had a lot of, like, we had the fucking Jawa fight in Mando, you know, like I'm saying, like I'm in no way am I going like, hey, don't use Jawas anymore. I'm just saying that the stakes have been raised for including Jawas in, like, you know what I mean, like as like the comic relief.
Right.
It's getting really good is what I'm trying to say. I mean it in a good way, but Darth Maximus is like, would be fun to get fucked up with Jawas. But oh yeah, everybody like the video if you don't mind. I would appreciate that, and subscribe to the stupid channel.
I haven't read these scenes, so I don't know how they play out, but I do think listening to Stuart Beattie, he has a good sense of humor.
For sure.
Yeah, I guess if you're gonna write the pirate movies, you gotta at least get jokes and shit, right?
Oh yeah.
So yeah, they definitely lean more on the drama than that sort of thing, you know.
Right.
I just like the idea that they got a dead body and then the other guy's got a dead body, and like,
yeah,
like it didn't even have to be a Sarlacc pit. It could have just been like a, you know what I mean, like a trash hole or something.
Well,
like,
yeah. I mean, it's like what you and I have talked about, where he's not doing that here, where people get too into Star Wars itself and try to write Star Wars itself instead of writing funny human moments and then putting them in Star Wars. Like, these could have been mobsters who are at a trash dump in Jersey dropping a body when they see the other mobsters, and they're like, are we gonna fight? And then they're dropping a body. Like, it you know what I mean? It translates beyond Star Wars, so it's funny anywhere.
Would have been even more darker if, like, instead of dropping the bodies in the Sarlacc pit, like, they couldn't do it, and then Cody's like, you know, the easiest way to do it is just burn them. And then, like, you know, it's like a trial run for Owen and Beru when they're dead. You know, like, burn the bodies.
Yeah, they could just take the stormtrooper weaponry and fucking burn them. I mean,
right.
But I mean, I mean, admittedly, it's like a good scene. I like it. You know what I mean? I like it like by itself. I don't like the idea of like going back to the Sarlacc anymore. Like maybe Book of Boba Fett just put a bad taste in my mouth, and it happened after he wrote that. It's not his fault or whatever. But fucking Sarlaccs, dude, are just I'm done. Don't care about it anymore. Like everything that every extrapolation upon it, I can imagine I would want. Like, they have to do something really fucking outside the box I cannot possibly conceive to sell me on more Sarlacc someday, you know?
It's same with that back the tank thing, man. That Book of Boba Fett did some interesting things in terms of, like, I think we're tired of Tatooine, which is totally bullshit, because if you really expanded the planet and you wrote some really compelling shit, it doesn't matter where. I mean, it's a rocky fucking planet anyways. That fight may as well taken place on Tatooine, at the one at the end with Vader and Obi-Wan. Like, can you tell? There's nothing specific about its, you know, geography and shit. So it's just like, all you got to do is really write to your geography and play the geography as a part of the character, versus, and they don't. Man, that's a thing that, like, I do as a visual, like I'm working on a comic right now, and I get to go back to my visual storytelling, and, like, I'm really big on geography. Like, where are we at? Where is this? What can I use in this scene, this setting? If someone writes, hey, they get into a fight and it happens to take place at a McDonald's, you know what I mean? Like, let's use the fucking the ball pit, like, drag him
with the arch.
Just drown him in the ball pit and shit. You know what I mean? Like that little. Remember the frag guy things you can go back and forth on. The one time the fucking the Sunday machine works. You know what I mean? Like, he puts his arm in there and shit, but that never works. Like, there's just things you can do and make things interesting.
I had a girlfriend, like, early 2000s who formerly was a Mick employee, and she told me, never eat the ice cream or the milkshakes in McDonald's. Flies just go in there and we just scoop them out.
Yeah, but the flies could go in the oil too. Like,
yeah, well, flies in hot oil, I could deal with that. I mean, at least they're getting
I'm gonna be honest.
obliterated.
I had friends work at McDonald's. No one ever said the flies got in there. That was a real sketchy McDonald's, buddy.
Yeah. Well, there was just a guy who was arrested at Arby's for pissing in the shake machine. Yeah,
I was in charge of the Frosty machine at Wendy's when I worked there for like 6 months in 1996, and we never had.
I bet that
flies going in the Frosty machine.
I bet that Frosty machine though got more harsh criticism than any Frosty machine ever.
What?
From Rob.
Oh, because me? Because
I would not want to be your Frosty machine. Yeah, I think.
Yeah. Well, I would always compare it to Dairy Queen's Blizzard machine. You know what I mean? And tell it could be a Blizzard machine, but see how quickly I roll into it. Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. I grew up with Whose Line. You know, I loved Whose Line Is It Anyway when I was a kid. Tried rewatching it. I don't know. It annoys the shit out of me now. Like,
yeah.
Did that happen to you?
Oh yeah, pretty much. I mean, honestly, that show had a short shelf life for me. I was like, oh, Greg Proops from Phantom Menace, and then I kind of you want me to make you really, really. I don't know. Maybe I'll make you really angry. I don't know. We'll see. I'm 1.5 seasons into Ted Lasso, and love the character. The show makes me fucking as mad as the angry soccer player. All the time.
It's because you have no joy in your life.
It's so like
I figured that.
I keep going, earn it, bitch. Like that's what I say every single time they go
earn it.
They don't earn it. Sometimes
they earn it.
In the first season, they fucking earn it. If you ever watch it again, you don't watch those again though. But if you ever watch it again for some reason, okay, when you watch it again,
3 times.
Okay, so when you're in the first season, like the first half of the first season, it earns it every time. After that, it just knows you like it.
It's not sentient. Like
no, but
it knows you like it.
They know that they have forward momentum on that kind of stuff at that point. And so they don't work as hard for it. Because they know that if they already have you hooked, that you're like you're there for it. And the truth is, I kind of like when I love the show when Ted Lasso is fucking optimistic, has his funny fucking bullshit sayings from Kansas, and makes his like pop culture references in such a folksy way, but he's out of step with everybody. In the second season, everyone becomes a fucking family, and I'm actually probably on I think I'm on the 9th episode, so I'm really far into the second season. And everybody's like together, and then that's when I absolutely am not liking the show. I'm gonna.
The idea is that he's had the influence on them, but he hasn't. It's not reciprocal. He hasn't taken anything from anyone else. He's relying on himself. That's the whole, and he can't do that. That's where he has to. What happens when who does Tony Robbins go for help? Who does Obi-Wan go to? And you've been the master. Who do you go to, Jason?
Yeah, I liked it when he started like having the panic attacks and stuff. And it started like really dark, but once it goes there, it immediately has him like fuck the hot best friend, and he's fucking good. You know what I mean? It's like I wish in a way the show. Who's the guy who Jody, the guy who does the stuff with Eastbound and Down guy? I kind of wish it had a little bit more of that to it at times, but I understand why it's a fucking. I get it. I think it's as good as The Office. I don't think it would be as resonant as The Office because people work in offices, so they relate to it, and then they go, "Oh, that's me."
It's better than The Office. I'll tell you why. This is going to end with 3 seasons, and The Office wouldn't fucking stop.
Yeah,
you know, like The Office should have stopped when Michael Scott left. Like, that's it.
No, I think the American Office was better than the BBC Office, but I think that the BBC Office had way more integrity overall, and handled the actual character and the cringe better. But this, like in The Office, when they get to the point where they start like making viral videos together, and you're like, "Fuck these people, fuck all of them. I hate every one of you, fuck mother." Like the show,
you got a lot of hate in you, Jason.
Oh, I do.
I don't get mad at Star Wars. Like I get frustrated when we talk here because I have to fucking talk to you people now. What did I say that out loud?
That's healthy. I think that's healthy.
Yeah.
But
not for views, it isn't. I hate when I talk.
No, I don't know. I think
you,
they
Jason.
hate watch you, and then they hope I tell them something that they want to hear. Arya says, "Why does everything he said sound so good, especially that vision thing with the refugees?" I gotta tell you, I heard all of this stuff as it was unfolding, and I didn't know. I'm not gonna. I don't want to overstate what I did know and make it sound like I knew everything that BD just said, because I didn't. Like, I'm not trying to say that, but when I heard where they were going with the show in the end, I was like, it sounds like I feel that if they had made that one, like the earlier, like the early stuff, people would have said it should have been what they actually made. It just would have been, there was like two ways of doing this at the end of the day, and one was Kenobi having, living on Tatooine with a clone for a time. And and he doesn't get into the stuff with Beru and Owen or anything like that. I think he like lives in their like fucking garage for the T-16.
Yeah.
In that script, I think. But
he likes to watch Owen shower. So
yeah,
it's a thing.
Yeah. But so if we had that, then we would be like, where was the pain? Where was the anguish? Where was the guy here at the end of Revenge of the Sith? You know what I mean? Like it got at it from, I think, more of a traditional Star Wars way. But I think it wasn't ultimately very deep. And also the other thing to remember about the first part, I know you're talking about the later part, but the first part was look at the performance that Ewan McGregor gave. Then imagine Tamara Morrison in more than a quarter of those scenes. I don't know if that chemistry would have been there. I don't know if it
would have been more than Nari.
Sure, but once again, Nari's 5 seconds of screen time serves a function.
Oh man, I felt like 8 episodes.
Yeah, because we made a song about him.
It didn't earn it. They knew they had us on the show, but they didn't earn that, right, Jason?
No, whatever.
What?
Put it on Apple TV, and then it'll earn it. No,
okay.
No, but why does everything he said sound so good, especially that vision thing with the refugees? Yeah, see, I don't personally don't like the Luke vision part. The going back to Mustafar stuff and that kind of shit. I kind of wish that we had some of that kind of stuff. Like, I wish that delving into it, but that's where I ultimately think season 2 has doors opened with Qui-Gon, because like Qui-Gon started that whole journey with the Shaman of the Wills, but he didn't actually get to finish it. And so I think the implication would be that Kenobi does. So I think that there's just like a big story opportunity there, if they want to pick it up, and that's where you could. What?
BD ruined it. He told everybody. There's no fucking way they do it now, bro. Like,
yeah, I mean, I wonder, right? I mean, they could do it to some extent, but I also think that on the Luke vision one, that going forward, like after this story, and if they wanted to like do it, I could see it happening, and I could see it being successful and fans all just going, wow, Luke Skywalker, my guy. But at the same time, though, I don't know if Mando ruined it. Like, did Mando ruin it? Like, would they still have gone that way? I guess it is dark Luke, and it's an opportunity to show Luke what he would have looked like if he went to the dark side. It's opportunity to make shirts and toys with evil Luke, and everybody likes goth Luke. And so there would be that angle to it, right? 70s goth Luke. He would have looked like kind of like Iggy Pop with eyeliner running down his fucking face, but maybe
so he looked like Kiss.
Yeah, but he would have been Mark Hamill from the 70s, but he would have been like extra skinny, and he would have been like, walking around with like, hip hugger jeans and looking like Iggy Pop. That's what I think. But it could have been cool. I mean, it definitely could. It would have been fun for sure. But I don't know if it's really like, I don't feel like it was a missed opportunity personally, But I do hope that if they do things like that in the future, if they ended up doing it, like at the end of the day, I guess I'm looking at it as like, would I rather have that as opposed to what I got? And in terms of story, because remember, all of that stuff, we're just talking about story beats. Then we got to go with execution, right? And I don't know. And for what it's worth, I don't know if they would have used the same, if they had made that story, if they would have used these people. I kind of don't think they would have. I think they would have went a different angle on it.
Well, I got a scenario for you then.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Execution. We can see what they did with the other Inquisitors, right? In the series. Given that, what if Reva just had the clones and not those other Inquisitors?
Yeah.
Probably would have been better, right?
Probably. I mean, well, you know what, man? No, I'm loving the Grand Inquisitor. The more I watch the show, the more hilarious he is. I wouldn't give him up for anything. Fifth brother, though, probably get rid of the fifth brother. But I do think that ultimately the focus for the better choice for the series would have been it just being Reva as an Inquisitor on that job. You know what I mean? Or who's starting the shit or whatever. Cost the shit. So the community says something different. So yeah, Luke versus Obi-Wan. And yeah, Dell's like, because you haven't seen it yet, Arya. You know, that's kind of my take on this stuff. Like when I heard a lot of this shit, and then I heard what they were changing it to during filming, I was like, cool. Like every single thing that they changed it to, I agreed with as it I'm just being honest. Like when they got rid of the fucking the Force cult and then turned them into Partisans, I was like, yeah, that's better. That's better. That makes more sense. Like that's what they would be.
Was it Soderbergh who directed Out of Sight? Who directed Out of Sight?
Wait, which one's Out of Sight?
That's the semi-sequel to Jackie Brown because it's Elmore Leonard, Leonard Elmore, whatever the fucking name is. Okay. So Michael Keaton's character's in it, but it's with J-Lo and George Clooney. Yeah, okay. It's really good, dude.
I didn't see it.
And so like it just needs a little bit of that Tarant. See, you would think Robert Rodriguez would be the guy to get a little bit of that Tarantino humor, but apparently not. Apparently not. Because the humor in Boba Fett was fucking cringe-inducing. Yeah. Like really, really not funny. Like
yeah, if we took Book of Boba Fett and made it into a stage play, and we took Kenobi and put it into a stage play, Kenobi would actually work.
Kenobi, that's because Kenobi looks like a stage play, honestly. Like,
yeah. What? No, they both. I think they both look kind of on the cheaper side, personally. But yeah.
Except, okay, I could say this. I get what you mean because I agree. The Jabba's palace, 100%, and those deserts. Yeah. It's just the visual effect of the Sarlacc pit eating the ship is really good, and that 6th episode is really good. So
yeah. But, yeah. Oh, wait. Oh. Yeah, yeah. I keep thinking the 6th episode is the final episode because of Kenobi. Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, no, and in no way am I like I don't want to erase Book of Boba Fett. You know what I mean? Like there's shit in there I want to go back to that I want to see and stuff like that. But you know, it's kind of only fair in a way. It's only fair to compare the shows against their peers on their format. You know what I mean? Like Book of Boba Fett versus fucking A New Hope. Like what? It's like a movie made in a different era and it's a film. And this is a TV show made in 2001 or whatever, or 2021 or whatever it was. So it's just like completely, you know, it's not necessarily fair. So I think. But Rain King says, why does Kenobi need a test since he's the one with 2 blue lightsabers? Because he's lost it, man. He's fallen off the horse. He needs to get back on it. He needs to buck up, that little buckaroo. So that's what I think anyway. That's where I think he's coming from. I sound like a cowboy just now when I said that. Retro Nerd Girl says, I'm a little tired of the mirroring and rhyming. I'm more in favor of new ideas. Yeah. It's a complicated like thing that they have, because like the new ideas have to be so fucking good that nobody calls back to, oh, this isn't Star Wars, or what, like, where was the Cantina moment? You know, they'll
you know who talked
like
about
that.
This? Mm-hmm. Chris McQuarrie. Like he was
Christopher McFucking Quarry
in the last year on that Light the Fuse podcast.
Okay.
You know, because they were asking him like, has there any spot where you could have put in some of, because there's like one extra dude from the original series that's still alive. Okay, I can't remember. From the 1968. Yeah, from the 1968 series. There's literally a guy still around. And he was like, yeah, I thought that could have been the character who he was originally going to be, the character that Sawyer was in Ghost Protocol, and then another character, maybe the Henry Cavill character in Fallout. But he's like he's like McQuarrie says, I got a list of fan service shit. I got a whole fucking book. The problem is that shit just becomes, well, why didn't you just make something? Like it just becomes things that get in the way or take people out, or it's playing to an audience of like 3 people. So he's like, if you do a fan servicey thing somewhere, it has to just fit so naturally that you don't notice. But then is it worth the trouble of I gotta get a whole guy down here for fucking one day on set when we could just shoot the shit today? You know, like there's all this arranging that has to happen. It's just not as easy as people think. Like the voice in Fallout, there's this voice when Ethan's getting the mission, and they were like, we need a different voice, and they were going to use Alec Baldwin because his character died. It was a way to bring it back, right? Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, McQuarrie is like, yeah, but it's everyone's thinking about Alec Baldwin, and they're not paying attention to the shit. He's like, I put all the expositions into one scene, so you eat your broccoli, you get it. But if it's a voice you recognize, you're not paying attention now, you're hearing the voice. So McQuarrie just voiced it himself. You know, so you go, I don't really know that voice, but it sounds, and then it gets done, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Mission
Impossible, the series predates Star Wars. I mean, it's not as old as Star Trek, but it's about the same time, right? Like a couple, yeah, it's right. So the Nimoy did that right after Star Trek, you know, so.
Yeah.
And it's still going theatrically. I just think about like, there's got to be all these ways new people show up and they're like, oh, you know what we could do? We could put Metallica right there because they were in the second movie, and we put Johnny Woo over there. Like that's okay. It's kind of like,
but what if? But what if Flea stole Princess Leia?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think though, like the thing that I hear now that annoys the fuck out of me, dude, is everybody wants fucking they're not going to a movie for what's in the movie, they're going for cameo fucking city. Ever since the Far From Home, No Way Home, whatever fucking one that was, the last Spider-Man movie like was promoted and it was like, is this kid Spider-Man? Is that Spider-Man? Is this Spider? Now it's like, if fucking all the X-Men and every fucking character ain't having a cameo in the new fucking Marvel movie, it's shit. Well, was that movie called X-Men? No, we weren't in there. Like,
that's why this channel is so successful, because we continually tell people what cameos are not in the Kenobi series. Remember we did that whole 20 characters that aren't in Kenobi that you keep saying are? Like,
you got one of them wrong, though, Palpatine. But to be fair, you said you didn't know.
No, but yeah, I think Palpatine was added later.
Right.
I think that was the big difference.
They watched a video and they're like, we're gonna fuck this video up.
Yeah, they're like, we got to, you know what, we got to get Palpatine in. We got to prove this YouTube video with 300 views wrong.
Yeah, they're petty. They're petty.
Like, you know
Petty
right
Kathy is her name.
Wrong is wrong. I'm gonna make
so
it wrong.
You know, Jason, Petty Kathy is her name.
Oh no.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Ranking says Stuart Beatty stuff was written in Pirates of Stuart Beatty stuff was rewritten in Pirates of the Caribbean too.
Yeah, I like Beatty's. Look, Beatty got final credit on the first movie. We all know that was a giant group of people, but I'll take the tone of the first movie over whatever they did with 2 and 3. You know, which was Russo and the other guy, like those 2 dudes. It was 2 dudes. I forget their name. Those guys are good writers. It's just, you know, it's like one of those things where they went for like the big saga lore thing with pirates versus fun adventures, and it was like, there's a lot of fucking effort here, guys. You know?
Yeah.
I'm Davy Jones, and I'm gonna be the Davy Jones, and I got the fucking curse. It's that thing, man. Sometimes writers really feel they have to inject plot instead of letting their characters move through scenarios based on choices that the characters would naturally make, good or bad. You know?
Right. Yeah. Rinking says Beatty's script sounded complicated for the new fans. Yeah. I mean, in some ways, I mean, like the whole thing is like they had like, I heard that they had a moment where there was like, you know, like, I'm sorry I did that to you, man. Like, I just can't get in. And he like, when it comes back, because like I heard that he came back in that story. Like you see Kenobi and him like meet for the first time, and after all of those years, and then and then they start like, becoming friends again, and then the bounty hunters come, bring Reva, all that stuff all comes in with that. And but it ends up like they just hit a point where they don't really have anything to really say. There's just nothing to like do with them. That is like a callback in a way that like has meaning to the story. So like that's the part I think people need to remember, that if you liked a lot like the Anakin stuff that we got, like almost all of this stuff has to go to start doing that work. I think that's like literally how the story transforms. Is when
Except
like,
that Reva's a shadow of the Clone Wars. So like I think Obi-Wan having a physical representation of his shadows that are tormenting him, until at the very end when that guy dies, he lets go too. Like there's a way to just visually let go of the past versus metaphorically or internally. Because the problem with saying a character dealt with something internally is it's a visual story. Unless there's fucking narration and Morgan Freeman's telling you, it is really hard to get that across to people. Every now and then you get an actor who can show you through their eyes, but I don't know.
I felt like Obi-Wan atoned with the Jedi kids that were ultimately murdered because of his failure, and like his guilt of that with Reva in that towards the back end of the show. And I think that ultimately for me has more like connective, like emotional weight, because I think of Obi-Wan as a Jedi, and then to a clone trooper who he served in the war with. I'm not saying that it couldn't work, or that the clone buddy thing, couldn't have like.
Well, it's the missed opportunity in Boba Fett, though, Jason. That he
Oh,
has
yeah.
the most recognizable fucking face in the galaxy. How can you ever get respect with that face? And that's an interesting thing for him to say and to deal with. If you went in every place and people were spitting on his face, he didn't do it, but it's fucking. And that's the giant missing gap in that story.
Yeah.
And then in this one, a bunch of kids died because Obi-Wan didn't fucking deal with Anakin before it was a problem. You know what I mean? And he turned a blind eye for the longest time. And it's just like, yeah, man, and physically having to deal with the ramifications of that is a great idea. I just wish sometimes I wonder how aware they are of that, or if it's there but they didn't like make a bigger meal out of it, intentionally. I don't know,
Yeah.
That's the hard part with anything you do, man, creatively. Like there's that idea, as you know, Jason, anytime you get an idea to do something, there's this promise of all these things in your head it could be, right?
Yeah.
That's like the most exciting time.
Right.
But the minute you start making decisions, it's one less thing than it could have been, and now it is something.
Right.
And like it's the hardest part of my job as an artist has always been like, man, when I show this fucking thumbnail to my art director, if I don't fucking hit on the promise of this layout, and like t-shirts really taught me to do it because the turnaround times were so low. I mean, they're so small. You have to do so many so fast. If you hand someone a sketch and then they're like, the sketch looked better, and you spent fucking 6 hours on something, or God help me, in a piece of art, 20 to 40, you're up shit creek. And that's where I'm really sympathetic to this. When they get the final thing in, I get a movie changes, right? A story, a visual show changes. Did it come across as well as we're hoping to? No. And I think sometimes like the editing bay is where they try to make that happen, and sometimes that works and doesn't work, like.
Well, I think like what you're kind of hitting at is something that I think is maybe the most fair criticism of Lucasfilm and what they do with their characters, is that, like, for instance, let's just take it out of the Kenobi thing and go over back to the Boba Fett thing. Is a fucking clone of of a time during the Clone Wars where everybody knew exactly what that face was, and it wasn't good for the galaxy in the end, right? So there's like a lot of power there.
Yeah.
And it's like the fact that it didn't happen in Book of Boba Fett doesn't mean it's not a thing. It doesn't mean it's not going to happen, or that it can't happen, or it won't happen, but it didn't pertain to that story. But it's like, what would have been more important? Would it have been more important to build the guy and like what he deals with first before doing basically what they did in a lot of Book of Boba Fett? And I think the answer is yeah. I think they should have done something like that first.
Because the universe, if they're accounting for their universe, and they're big on timelines, so they, in my opinion, they're the ones that make timeline a part of these stories, not me or you.
Yeah.
So in this timeline, they just went through a civil war where, like, the majority of the fucking troopers all look like Adolf Hitler, right? Like, if all the fucking troops look like Adolf Hitler, and Adolf Hitler's fucking son shows up and looks just like him, we ain't giving him a fair fucking shake,
Right.
And they don't recognize any of that. That's the part when I say they got to be smarter, because, like, if they're gonna build a universe where things have consequence, you can't then go, well, it was based on our Old Republic serial, Jason. So I'm doing Santa, right? So it's the Old Republic serial, so it doesn't matter. It's goofy. It's stupid. Like, no, it doesn't. No. This is the juice. This is like the benefit of, you don't have to go and tell a whole backstory. It was already told now, and this can help complicate things. It creates more conflict, and conflict is what these characters need to encounter. So yeah, man. And Tamora is a good actor, dude.
I think he's a good, I think he's like a good action hero actor. You know what I mean?
Likeable.
And he's super likable. Yeah.
How many actors do you actually like when you like? I'm not gonna say who am I thinking of? The guy who plays Luther. I'm brain farting.
Luther. We'll just call him Luther.
Yeah, in Mission Impossible, right?
In Mission Impossible.
Ving Rhames, right? Ving
Rhames. Okay. I thought you meant Luther from Luther.
I fuck every time Ving Rhames shows up, I feel like an uncle showed up to hang out with Rob. Like, I was a very comforting personality and presence to me,
Yeah.
And so, like, I'm not saying he's the greatest fucking actor. Like, Ving Rhames deserves some giant fucking Oscar, but how many actors can do that? I think Ewan does a great job of that too. More than Kiefer Sutherland, right? Kiefer Sutherland would have been like the Mad Max version of Obi-Wan, but Ewan's a guy who's like, oh, I could go to this hut and hang out and hear about Larry all day,
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So,
Star Wars Doc says, question: how are you privy to this information, and do you have to be sneaky? Also, has Lucas and Disney tried to shut you down and hang up your pick with a slash through it? Well, yeah. So what you do is, like, you go to Disney, and there's like a front office, and you just like go to the front office and you like apply for you're like, hey, you have an application. I want to apply for a job. Yeah, I want to apply for a job. And they go, well, what are your skills? And you basically just say, I don't have any. And then they go, okay. And then they go like, hey, do you want to like figure out what's going on with their projects and link it on the internet? And I'm like, yeah. And then they're like, okay. So like, here's the thing though. Like,
they make you take a fan math test, Jason.
Yeah, they make you take a fan math test. Make sure that you could like read. Right. You could do all the extrapolations as best as you can, and then you go from there. That's pretty much how it goes. They've never tried to shut me down. I mean, it's been like almost 10 years, so kind of a late, I guess, if they want to do that. Yeah, I mean, they don't like me. That's for damn sure. But who does? Arya says, I wanted the Luke vision to be Leia. Sounds like this writer never wanted Leia involved. Less Luke and more Leia. The whole Star Wars trilogy is about this damn boy and only a tiny bit of Leia. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the like perspective that I think was smart about Kenobi in the end that we got, was it took the sequel trilogy into consideration. Like, that was part of the story. And if you're for the George Lucas people, George Lucas's thing was that Leia was the one who was going to bring balance. Like, that's where he was taking it. She was actually the one. And so when you if you go into this route right here, it's very much just like original trilogy minded in terms of emphasis, I think. But then it does the I shouldn't say original trilogy, original Lucasfilm minded, like the episode 3 and 4, just like that's all of it, you know. And but yeah, she is clearly way more important than what we've got. And I'm hoping for something creative and well done in the future that like gets into Leia on screen, and like with the stuff with her being, you know, going down the Jedi road and then not, and stuff like that. Like there's a good story there if they wanted to tell it, of somebody who like literally has like these two paths in front of them, and they're both pretty incredible and insane, and then, you know, how she has to pick one and why she does, and like kind of what was at stake at the time, because we don't even really know that. That's just all like implication, I'd say. So there's definitely like Leia stories that it would be cool to get to have told, and that's why Millie Bobby Brown is being cast as Leia in the new Leia trilogy.
Jason, why do you do that?
Sorry, I can't help myself.
Why do you do that to people?
Neil says, watch Dr. Sleep yesterday. Ewan's character story had some strong similarities to Kenobi. Instead of the Force, he can shine, but he suppresses it and is depressed. Yeah, it was. I like Dr. Sleep for the most part. I liked Ewan in it, and I liked like the whole Shining universe that it explored. I just don't like the bad guys. Like
you don't like the vampires?
We're like gypsy vampires.
They're vampires.
Yeah. I'm sure in the book it reads fine. It just, I did not like how it just didn't like it on the screen. It was very much Fifth Brothery. If to bring it back to Kenobi, instead of Qui-Gon, he communes with Dick Hallorann. He comes out of his hole when he meets a young charismatic girl who also shines, and his ability are reawakened to help her. Maybe the sensibilities of that story had an effect on it, you know. Yeah. I was expecting baby Mando and an old Grogu. What that would turn the story on its head.
Like what was that, Vice Versa with Judd Reinhold and Fred Savage? Yeah, we should do Vice Versa with Grogu and Mando, right?
Yeah. And then
there was
the
Parent Trap, bro. It's the Parent. I know, but I bring up Vice Versa because you motherfuckers forget it.
There was the one with Kirk Cameron and Dudley Moore, I want to say. That was the other one. Remember the other one?
Now you're getting down to the bottom of the barrel, you know? Yeah. This is like Corey Haim's second career when he was like in his 19s and he's like a bank heister with his dad and shit. Yeah. There's a whole bunch of those bankers. Cynthia Rothrock was in that film. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know my stupid direct-to-cable TV movies, Jason. I do.
Yeah. I mean, I recorded that shit off TV as a kid.
Cynthia Rothrock, I'll watch anything. Man.
Said the Inquisitors already existed. It's just that most people haven't watched Rebels. Yeah, and that was the thing. It was like I'm curious if she was actually called an Inquisitor in it, because I heard her called Jedi Hunter back then. So for what it's worth,
Jedi Hunter Biden.
Biden and his laptop.
Jesse's getting up and running out. What the fuck? I'm on the way to space Ukraine, buddy. What happened to Jesse? He disappeared.
He's been working a lot.
Oh yeah, that's probably why we're getting all our shit now. You know. Yeah. All right. Hey, thanks, Jesse. I appreciate it.
Jesse's taking care of business.
Thinking about you, buddy.
Ring King
crazy conspiracies. Hold on. It's just crazy to me, dude, that there aren't more like Star Wars like conspiracies. You know, like there aren't, like you think.
That's all I hear every day, dude.
Huh?
I mean, all I hear every day are Star Wars conspiracies.
But I mean, in the shows, you know, like because I really love that thing in Bloodlines, and I've said this, put this on Bingo Card, where fucking they find out Leia's Vader's daughter and Luke is Vader's son. You know.
Yeah,
like that should have opened up a whole world of conspiracy theories to the Star Wars universe.
You mean conspiracies in the story itself?
Yeah, in Star Wars. Gotcha. I know there's conspiracies on our. Yeah. I'm talking about in the shows.
Gotcha. Okay.
Like to me, that's the whole basis for the sequel trilogy. Is like You're telling me Vader's kid and Vader's daughter are running to fucking galaxy? What did we fight for? You know, like we fought to get out of the fucking this. You know what I mean? That fight to get out of the rule, and then they're up running everything. Like, yeah.
And I mean, people would think that. They would. King Chris says that's true, Dale. It's kind of surprising how many fellow fans I run across that haven't seen Rebels. Yeah. I'm really curious as to how they're gonna deal with that in the Ahsoka series. You know, how much do they remake? How much do they retell? The comic binge says rereading the first volume of Marvel's Darth Vader comics for a show next month, and man, they go along perfectly. After watching Kenobi, love the show, homie. Pizza. Hey man, yeah. That's like one of the things. Like I knew some people in comics and on the Star Wars comics, and like they would tell me every now and then that about something here and there, like we're not allowed to touch it because it sounds like it's going to be part of this thing or that thing, or I think they're like telling us something. But so it's like they definitely like kind of get their shit down more than you would think. You know what I mean? More than you would think. It's not as like they don't. The problem that arises is that then things change, and then you have like a comic that was doing all of this stuff to, you know, in the comics to build up this Kenobi story that fucking takes completely change by the time it comes out.
Like
and that's where most of the problems seem to have popped up over time. I can't talk about most of it, unfortunately, but I would love to when I can, you know. So, hey, Mr. Baymax, how's it going? Nolan says, sorry, Nari. Have a good weekend, boys. Hit the like button. Thanks, dude. And thanks for sending me the article today that we used for the show. It was old man Nolan, who sent it my way, and it definitely helps. And then looks like he got something from Chris, and he's saying sorry, Nari, and walking around Walmart looking for figures. Pilot error. Well, I guess, you know, we've all been there. You know, we've all been there. But yeah. Well, I think we've. Oh wait, King Chris. I missed this part, not at all. And I think what surprised a lot of people when Book of Boba Fett came out, now we'll never know. They were expecting Boba Fett from Mando. Yeah, I hope that Tamura Morrison like get something with a good script in it. You know, that's like the one thing I would say that is a shame about today's story was Morrison. Like, I think Morrison would have been charming in that role with the shit talking back and forth between them. I think it would have been good. Ultimately though, I don't think it would have been as deep of a story for me. I think it would have been fun in the theater, which is not bad, not a bad thing, but I don't think it would have. I think I still love the first episode of Kenobi, and I still wouldn't change it, honestly. I do like the first episode. I think like the first and the sixth episode are pretty fucking good in a lot of ways. I almost could have had everything condensed with like into a middle act. And
I told you all of it could have taken place in the fortress of there could have been a way station to plan or whatever, but the big meet could have all happened at the fortress. Yeah. And then resolved itself with the thing with Reva at the homestead and shit a little bit. Right. You know what I mean? Like, it's just there's so many, this location and that location and this location. It's like, cut your locations down and make more out of them, you know? Like, because they got a lot of cool characters, but they're adding characters. And unless you got like a whole fucking season coming or you got more episodes, like, trim out the character. You don't need as many characters. You don't need Nari and Haja and Roken. And, like, there's just a lot of fucking characters, man, to keep track of for very little like screen time, you know. Wade gets a whole fucking arc, like.
Okay. I'm gonna say it one time because I just have to. Roken v. Wade has been canceled.
No, bad form, Peter.
Broken
Bad
B
form,
Wade. Come on, Broken
Jason.
B Wade. It was right there. It was
No,
right there the whole time.
Jason. It's too soon.
I know it is. I agree, Rob. They spread the budget too thin in terms of location. Yeah, they're like definitely like trying to not make it feel small by going that way, hoping it comes together. And obviously, they don't know what it's going to be until it's together at that price point in that time. And one thing I want to throw out there too is money matters. Everybody keeps talking about money. Money definitely matters, but I personally feel like time is probably the bigger like problem here is getting stuff out regularly. I think that's more of the issue personally. That's
they
what
could chill out on the if Kenobi could have. I guess it's just a weird timing, between this and Andor being so close too. I think 2 series a year, if they're a little more fleshed out, you know what I mean, won't overkill people's fucking appetites.
Yeah.
My fear now is that people will pass on Andor unless it gets fucking huge word of mouth because they're a little Star Wars out.
I think Andor has a bit of an uphill fight right now based off of the YouTube trailer views.
No lightsabers, man.
It's got about last time I looked, I think it had about 6 million views on the teaser trailer. And so it's not bad. It's pretty average for like the Disney Plus stuff. But when you look at what Kenobi got to like pretty quickly, it definitely has a lot more work to do. It's probably going to be a good show. And so I think what'll happen is it'll start airing, and then people will go, oh, it's good. And then it will build and everything will be fine. But it might not have that thing, where, it got like this amount of views on the first, opening or whatever. Oh, hey, Meg, how's it going? Meg says Andor will suffer number wise, but it will be the best thing Disney has ever put out. Mega's all about what's next, and she's on the Andor train.
But quality fucking catches on the internet, and if it's quality, people will fucking talk, and then they will show up. But I was telling Jason, it's one of those things where I love Rogue One. Everyone knows I love Rogue One. But like, you take the Vader part out, then half the fucking internet doesn't remember the movie. You know what I mean? It's not the quality of the movie. It's because I'm like, what is the difference between a typical science fiction-y looking film, right? Science fiction looking film, and Star Wars? It's called lightsabers. Like, as much as I hate to say that, I don't think Star Wars needs lightsabers. I think that's the big difference, to a lot of people.
You just brought up something I wanted to bring up about the Beatty story that I had heard too. I heard that in Stuart Beatty's story, Darth Vader is like throughout it, getting up to the end, but it's just a lot of like, you failed me for the last time kind of shit. Yeah, that's a lot of that. A lot of like him just like what I call the Mr. Manager thing. And so like, yeah, Dark Luke sounds fun, right? Would you take Dark Luke over? Now there's no Darth Vader in that part, and it's just him on a Star Destroyer going, find Kenobi, Reva, asshole. That's.
But we've all seen with that really lame fucking like 3-second bit in Rise of Skywalker, Dark Ray doesn't mean anything unless it's a real tangible thing. If it's just a little moment, like, who cares? We got Dark Bilbo in fucking Lord of the Rings for one scene. You know what I mean? Like, so like, it doesn't, it's just a thing. Like, it's not a story.
Yeah. I mean, it touches on that, like, Tumblr nerve, and makes you feel like you had a social media splash for a few minutes, but at the end of the day, it's like a kind of a big so what. I'm with you. Like in Lego Star Wars, I got Dark Ray. I'm like, cool. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't like, I gotta be Darth Ray now. It just doesn't really mean anything or really go anywhere.
Darth Maul actually had shit to do in the Phantom Menace. It's different.
I mean, I want to date Dark Ray. We could get braces together and like go on dark dates.
You can go to Hot Topic.
Go to Hot Topic together. We could listen to We could listen to like Depeche Mode stuff, you know?
You can trade Morrissey Funkos.
Oh, sorry. Will says, we have gone from Andor not making sense when announced to the only thing that makes sense now. Laugh out loud, super excited.
Well, you want to know something else that didn't make sense when it was announced to people? Avatar. So when Avatar was announced, it was going to take the Christmas slot a few years back. You know, people are like, "What do we care? We're getting Star Wars films now. We're getting Star Wars films. We don't care about Avatar." And now you ain't getting no motherfucking Star Wars film anytime soon. So guess which saga you gonna get?
Fuck you, Rob. fuck your blue face.
Can't wait.
No. Andor's gonna take James Cameron out to an alley and be like, "You can't climb."
He'd be like, "Please put me in Avatar 6. I know you're making 18 of these." So
I wanted to be in Avatar since I was 6 years old. Yeah. Yeah. I you know, when Avatar comes out, like I'll see it, but I just don't love the not like in love with it, you know. I'm not in love with the universe. I'm like I don't miss it. You know what I mean? Like Willow. You said it, man. What's a good
Willow? I can't fucking
miss my.
Yeah, Jason gets a bingo card too. Anytime he mentions Willow.
Oh well, Johnny brought up Willow. So what do you want me to do? I mean, you know, it was Johnny. I mean, he just said it. You know. But I mean, me and Ray could reach out and touch faith. You know. But anyways, yeah. Well, I mean, we're gonna get. I don't think we're gonna get a Star Wars movie next year. So
it's funny, Star Wars, dog, because as long as those blue people have tentacles on their heads, or they're mastermind imperial alien chess players, right? Or they wear cowboy hats, they don't matter, right?
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, Star Wars fans really need to start thinking. Their Lord and Savior George Lucas made himself a blue alien, so just think about it.
I'll meet you in the middle. The Avatar things are all a bunch of blue pussies. That makes sense, right?
You're telling me you and
the Pussycats. The Pussycats.
Come on, man.
So they're all a bunch
man, there's nip in those movies. I don't know if you're aware, bro. I freeze frame.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I was agreeing with what you were saying like earlier. Like in reality, I pretty much would be happy with 2 Star Wars shows a year. Like every 6 months there being a Star Wars thing would be good. Probably though better with 3 a year. You know what I mean? Like for the most part. But
get cartoons.
I'm curious to see if this is like laying strong foundations for the future of things when we do get back to movies, when the movies do start like hitting, you know, and then like, because when the movies do finally start to hit, that's when the shows that they're beginning, if they all connect, will be going into like their second seasons and stuff like that. So that's kind of a strange thing to like consider about how much Star Wars potentially there could be in that way, and you know, and what it does to the brand itself, and like because they haven't managed to really, because they always go back to the, you know, to the drawing board about where it all began, and with every fucking production it feels like people don't see it like Marvel, like people don't see Boba Fett as Iron Man. I'm seeing a Boba Fett movie, they go, I'm seeing a Star Wars show. It's always that. And so in a weird way, I almost think it would be difficult, but I almost think like they should not erase Star Wars from the titles, but I think that they should just go with it as being like Acolyte, as Book of Boba Fett, and start letting Star Wars break out from being under the moniker of that of Star Wars itself in terms of branding.
Freaking out at you right now.
Oh, for sure. But that's the thing, was like comics were always like, here's the comic called Batman, and it wasn't called like, you know, the DC universe, and then the Batman was a character in it, and we were buying but that's where I think people can't break out of that mindset that these are all characters in a huge living universe. And like, you know, so like if I like Din and Grogu, then there you go, right?
It is possible though, Jason.
Mm-hmm.
To give you a modern example of this, no one says, "Have you seen Star Trek: Strange New Worlds?" They go, "Have you seen Strange New Worlds? Have you watched Discovery? Have you watched Picard?" So like, they are branding that in a way where they're saying those names. I think though they're gonna need, again, Acolyte's a simpler title, right? So that's good. But Kenobi should have just been called Kenobi. Obi-Wan Kenobi is just not. It's not a name that rings off the fucking people. What do people just say? They say Kenobi, then use that. That's what they're gonna use. So.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking about the I don't know, the thematic poetry of the name, and I was like, in some ways, I think it would have that like the show. I mean, he becomes Obi-Wan Kenobi in the end, so I think that's where they were going for. I think that's what they were going for, but it would have been a lot different if it was called Ben or something like that. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's as good.
That's a Michael Jackson song, bro.
Well, come on, it was a rat. Shit. It was a rat.
Yeah.
By the way, have you played the new Ninja Turtles game?
Yes.
Yeah, I started playing it yesterday.
Excellent.
It's pretty fun. I played a couple levels of it. Yeah.
The composers T-Lopes did the music for Sonic Mania and the soundtrack for our upcoming game, Berserk Boy, releasing later this year.
I don't know if you ever talked to that person, but they did a really good job of getting like those 80s flourishes in music down pat. Like, fucking on.
You know what I mean? Great. He doesn't let us talk to him anymore, though. We got to go through his agent. It's come one of those fucking dudes, Musicians, Jason, right? Am I right? Am I right? Fucking.
If you want to talk to me, talk to Johnny. Johnny will get me what you want to say, okay? And I'll get back to you.
Yeah. Don't talk to me. Don't talk to me.
Don't
talk to me.
Don't talk to me.
Yeah. Don't talk to me. I just don't even check my messages half the time. You know this.
Mm-hmm. Tyrant says, "Come on, Rob. Minor characters versus the focus of the Avatar's plot is to metamorphosize the dude from a human to blue alien. It's a homing beacon for whatever the alien version of furries are."
Okay, and
we don't kink shame here. Yeah,
and it's in 3D, motherfucker. You're getting Avatar 1 and 2 this year, buddy.
I could see it.
Let's go. I like how they have no fur in their furries. Come on, guys. Come on.
Seth says, "Has Celebration sold out yet?" So I did hear that. It did sell out, but I don't know for a fact. But every fucking time it sells out, then they find 10,000 more tickets from somewhere in their asshole. You know what I mean?
Don't say.
Yeah. So it's I have a theory, a conspiracy Star Wars theory. I'll bring one up. And I think that they really lowball it at first, then let it sell out. And then that way they know that they have the basics covered, and then they will oversell it in the weeks to come as they just happen to find more tickets to get people to buy more. So I think they kind of short it or whatever, to make it to supply and demand the hell out of it. But yeah. That's just me though. I could be wrong. You know what I mean? I don't know that for certain, but it does seem like it sells out every time. And then on a random Tuesday, everybody who I know got tickets with no problems. So Tyrant says, "Nah, I said whatever alien version of furries would be."
All I'm saying is making fun of their looks is what the space racists do in the movie. So you should really think about your human bias, right? Like if real aliens show up, all you're going to do is make fun of how they look. And then you're going to have to think about, I'm not a racist except that they're aliens. Fuck those things. They look weird. They don't look like me. They're stupid looking, right?
I'm just saying though, imagine how much cooler it would have been if they were purple donkeys. Just saying.
Hey man, that's Mel Brooks' fault for not making that fucking parody
Come on.
movie. Yeah, well,
What was he talking
once
about?
Mel Brooks got on Curb, no, but he should have though, right? Like,
yeah,
and once Mel Brooks got on Curb, he's like, I don't have to make shit anymore. I can just be on Curb and be myself now.
Hey, Dell says nothing has sold out for the EU celebration. Okay. Yeah, I saw people saying that it did, but you know, I was talking to Bespin, like they fucking they messed up that like launch pretty hard. You know, like yeah, like their time zones over there like change, you know, like for the season. And they, you know, like they like gave the wrong time for them that was for the wrong season.
Jason, I thought time zones were only what America had.
Yeah. No, and or like, you know what I mean? Like yeah. And so there was like a whole thing with the time being off, and then the time for the US and the rest of the world and the English ticket, whatever, they just didn't line up. Like none of it made any sense, and everybody was just like, you know, we're trying to fly over from the United States. Like, what the fuck? But I don't know if they got it sorted out and clear before the tickets went on sale, but if they didn't, that's pretty messed up. But I don't think Rob's seen it really any of the Clone Wars. Baymax, has Rob watched the final 4 episodes of the Clone Wars?
I was gonna watch all of it, folks. I was gonna watch it, but Lucasfilm told me not to.
No,
when I was working on the T-shirts, they did. They told me not to. They said, "Don't do that." They said they weren't making. They don't want designs for 100 fans. They want things that, you know, 10,000 people. So they told me no.
Rob, the T-shirt wars are over. We lost.
No. Well, that is true. I mean, I'm not in it anymore. For that reason. But since they told me not to, I'm out. I don't have to do it.
Rob, lay down your what is it called? Not a paintbrush, whatever it is that you use. Yeah.
Wacom pen.
What's the screen called that you have that you like?
Cintiq.
Yeah. Put the Cintiq down, Rob. Put it down.
Do you know how fucking heavy this thing is? You're not picking it up. You
know? Will Morgan says it's like 90% chance that aliens would look very much like us. Yeah, I've seen like a lot of things about like biomes in our galaxy, and basically saying like,
us, because look how we treat each other, Jason.
Well, yeah, no, but if we went to like another planet, right, we would probably, there's a good chance we, you know, if we were in the right era of the planet, we would find like avians, like some kind of birds, but they wouldn't be our birds. They would have evolved differently, but there would be, you know, things would be kind of recognizable to an extent. You know what I mean? Like but it would just have evolved differently. So yeah, but by the way, a lot of we do need to do a UFO show pretty soon. A lot of fucking UFO shit, like in the last like.
We got more footage now to go over than I think we've ever had.
Yeah.
Like, seriously.
Yeah, we'll definitely do one pretty soon. I sent Rob a video of a black triangle that we don't know if it's real, but if it's fake, it's like the best fake, so it's impressive. And if it's real, it's pretty fucking impressive. So it's pretty fun.
Yeah.
But you always hear stories of like triangles like shooting lasers onto the ground and stuff. And like, I want to see a video one doing it, because that's
seen in Close Encounters when it's like pulling away from Richard Dreyfuss and it's making a little beam of light to the ground. Boop, boop,
yeah, like that shit sounds cool. And then
kept it real, bro.
Well, the other thing is like all of the like the Brazilian government went forward and like Brazil, like I was saying, has like this scary UFO stories, like horror stories, people's meat falling off of them and shit after getting hit with like lights. And like just fucking dying and shit. And like it's like kind of a scary fucking thing. And I don't know anything about the Brazilian government, so I don't know if they're like, are they reputable or are they all a bunch of lunatics? Like I have no fucking clue. But they're saying like, yep, shit was all real. Like we went and investigated, you know, all the shit. Our jets went, they checked it out. And but what sucked was I had a show ready for us based off of that. Somebody went and they subtitled the whole event that they did in Brazil, and I was like, ooh, you know, we could put it on fast speed but watch the subtitles and like pause and talk and stuff. And then for some reason it keeps getting taken down. I don't know if it's the man, if it's a conspiracy, but there was no coverage on the Brazilian stuff and YouTube continues to take it down, so it's really weird. But anyways, I think we've done it though. We've started talking about UFOs. So I think this episode is done, and we will be back on Monday. But if something big happens, I'll jump back on.
Some of us gets an Avatar movie this year, and none of you getting any Star Wars movies for years. What?
Yeah, actually, I think Monday is the 4th of July, isn't it?
Does it matter? In this country, does it mean anymore?
It's kind of over, but anyway, I might do a show on Monday. I don't know what you're doing, Rob, but if there's anything to talk about, we'll do a show Monday.
Oh, I'll be working. I'll be here.
We'll do a 4th of July show probably, and the only way I won't is if some like family stuff comes up and we're like doing something or whatever.
You want to go swimming?
Yeah, but like there's a 95% chance they're going to want to go swimming, and then they're going to want to lay on the couch for an hour or two, and that's when I would do the show. So I think it'll work. But all right, everyone, we'll see you guys probably Monday, and have a good 4th of July weekend, and don't get too drunk, and don't get hurt, and don't burn yourself with fireworks or do anything jackass.
We'll do twinkle toes.
Yeah.
All right. All right, Sugar Smacks.
Dance around the firecrackers, Jackie. You can do it.
Who's our guy from New York that can do we got a Mike New York
Papa.
guy. Mike Papas?
Yeah, Mike Papas.
Yeah, Mike's great. All right, Sugar Smacks. All right, patty cakes. All right. See you later, little Debbies.
We need Mike Papas to come on the show. And then after I read a comment, I put a comment up, he sees them off.
Yes.
That's
all he does.
Okay, Baymaxi Pad, you have a good one. He never adds anything to the show. He just insults people after we read their comments. So, anyways, browser is completely fucked right now, and so I'm going to just end the show. No, I don't think there's going to be probably not going to be any ending. Wait, there's going to be an ending. I'm getting the fuck out while it works. Bye.
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
It's the end of the show.
Come on.